So, what if I told you that the secret to getting more done is to give yourself less time to do it? I know, it sounds completely backwards, but today we're going to dive into a really powerful idea that explains why this strange concept is 100% true, and, more importantly, how you can use it to your advantage.
Just think about it for a second. Have you ever been given a big project, maybe for work or back in school, and they tell you the deadline and it feels like an eternity away? A whole month. You're thinking, shh, I've got all the time in the world. And yet somehow that month just evaporates, right? All of a sudden, you're looking at the calendar and this wave of pure panic just washes over you. And that's when the frantic, caffeine-fueled all-night race to the finish line begins. Yeah, we've all been there.
This exact thing actually happened to me back in high school. And the story, honestly, it's the perfect illustration of this entire concept we're talking about today.
Okay, so my teacher gives us a full month for this big essay. And as you can see, for the first 3 weeks or so, my number one priority was video games. The essay, it was just this vague, distant thought. But then, day 28 hits, and it's pure, uncut panic. The next 48 hours were just a blur of adrenaline and furious typing. And the wildest part? I actually got a good grade on it.
So, what's going on? How is it even possible that a project that was supposed to take a month got done, and done pretty well, in just 2 days? Am I some kind of wizard? Nope, it's something much, much more common than that.
It turns out there's actually a name for this whole phenomenon. There's a name for that productive panic we all know so well. It's called Parkinson's law.
So what is it? Well, in these simplest terms, the more time you give something, the more time it's going to take. It's not that the task itself actually gets harder or more complex. No, it's that we make it more complex. We overthink it, we drag our feet, we let it expand and swell until it fills up every single minute we've given it. This is the core idea, right here. It was first written down way back in 1955. Work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion. Just let that sink in for a minute. It's so simple, but it explains so much.
Let's think about it this way. The lawn mowing test. If you have 1 week to mow your lawn, you're pretty focused. You'll probably get it done over the weekend. Minimal fuss. But what if you have a whole month? You know what's going to happen. You'll put it off and put it off until the very last second. The task is exactly the same, but the time you give it changes absolutely everything about how you approach it.
So, the big question is, why? Why does this happen? What is it about that ticking clock that just magically forces our brains to focus? Well, it all comes down to the psychology of urgency. And the best way to understand this is to stop thinking about a deadline as just a date on a calendar. Instead, I want you to think of a deadline as a fire. When that deadline is a month away, the fire is just a tiny little campfire way off in the distance. It's not a threat. You can see it. You know it's there, but you're not worried. You can just, ignore it and get on with other things. But with each day that goes by, that little campfire gets a bit closer. It grows from a campfire into a bonfire. And then it's a full-on wildfire on the horizon. And you're starting to feel the heat. Your attention is really starting to shift towards it. And then, bam! It's the night before the project is due. That fire isn't on the horizon anymore. It's here. It's right here. Your house is on fire. And you have no choice but to act right now. Because when your house is on fire, you don't procrastinate, do you? You're not checking your email for just a minute. You're not scrolling Instagram. You're not thinking about video games. All those other distractions, they become totally meaningless. The crisis creates this crystal clear sense of purpose. The only thing that matters is putting out that fire. Okay, so we get the idea. That looming fire forces us to act. So the question becomes, how do we use this? How do we stop being the victims of the fire and instead become the ones who light it? How do we control its size and its intensity to work for us? First things first, we have to bust a huge myth we all tell ourselves, that having more time will automatically lead to a better result. The reality, as Parkinson's law clearly shows, is that more time usually just means more wasted time. The real secret to a great result isn't more hours, it's more focus. And a shorter deadline is one of the best tools we have for creating that focus on demand. So, how do you actually do this? How do you tame the fire? It really comes down to 3 steps. Number 1, set shorter deadlines. Be ambitious, but be reasonable. If a task really just needs a day of focused work, give yourself a day, not an entire week. Second, create your own fire.
For those tasks that don't have a deadline, you got to set one yourself. Because if you don't, that task to organize the closet is probably never going to happen. And finally, number 3, use this pressure to push your limits. Tight deadlines force you to find shortcuts and become way more efficient. So I'm going to leave you with this question. Think right now about that one thing, that one project you've been putting off. What if you just decided right now to finish it this week instead of sometime next month? You might be absolutely amazed at how quickly and how well you can put out the fire when you're the one who decides to light it.